Lily Tomlin, tonight on ATV.
80, 100,000 there. These are bundles of 10,000. So 10, 20.
Count it up if you can.
40.
Just how much money is in that pile? We'll tell you and introduce you to the Maritimer who won it all this morning on the Feel Good Friday edition of Live at 5.
200.
Now, from the ATV News Center at every city and town in the Maritimes, this is the ATV Evening News, Live at 5.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Live at 5 for Friday, November 26th. I'm Nancy Regan.
And I'm Paul Minion. Boy, that was a lot of money in that pile.
I guess
It
it was.
sure does look impressive. We're going to hear from the winner of that money tonight, and we're also going to tell you the story of some Maritimers who won 10 times as much.
Landry in Kingston, Nova Scotia. Would $1 million change your life? How about a cool $2 million? I've come to the area here to try and track down a young couple who've recently won $2 million to see how it's changed them.
And from Sydney, we'll have an update on the largest toxic waste cleanup project ever undertaken in Canada. Tons of waste will be destroyed by incineration, but how safe is the method? And hot on the heels of a Juno Award for Best Children's Album of 1993, Jack Grunsky's produced a fourth album. We caught up with the accomplished artist on his swing through our region. We're going to do a little dream catching with Jack Grunsky tonight. And it's the stuff dreams are made of. From small town Maritimes to the runways of Paris, a fairy tale comes true for a young Nova Scotian.
We have all this and much more ahead on the Friday edition of Live at 5, including Mike Duffy inside Ottawa. First, here's Steve Murphy working on the day's headline news. Steve.
All right, thank you, Nancy. Coming up on our evening news at 6 o'clock tonight, an impassioned plea from the father of missing teen Marcia LeBlanc for information about where she is. And from the police tonight, plans to resume the search for a key suspect. The story here at 6 o'clock. Also on our program tonight, the spray that hurts. Cayenne pepper spray is a great weapon for the cops, but you know the crooks can get hold of it too, and that could be bad news for the rest of us. Tonight, ATV's Ponce Jessom takes an amazing first-hand look at just how effective this thing can be. Story later tonight. Also, the latest on the deer-jacking incident in which a Dartmouth police officer is a suspect. We understand the officer's been suspended pending an investigation into exactly what happened. An eyewitness says an officer fired his service revolver at an animal early yesterday morning. Right now, it's time for our first fast look at the maritime weather forecast. Meteorologist Richard Zarowski's off tonight. Filling in is Phil McLaughlin.
Thanks, Steve. Well, certainly the big chill is holding on to the Maritimes today, and tomorrow, well, temperatures are going to rebound nicely over the weekend, but the question is, what about that rain? What's happening to it? Looks like it's gone into a stall pattern, and when I'm back later here on ATV, we'll take a close look at the forecast for the whole Maritime provinces. So back to you.
Okay, Phil's forecast at 5:30, then at 6 o'clock, all the day's top stories, including this. Imagine reading your own obituary in the morning paper, then calling to correct the mistake, only to have it happen again. In the words of Mark Twain, reports of his death are greatly exaggerated. Tonight on the ATV Evening News at 6 o'clock, right after Live at 5 on a Feel Good Friday. Here's Nancy and Paul.
Indeed, and that is first at 5 tonight, Stephen. You know what makes a lot of people feel really, really good? If it'll happen to you, that is, and it's winning large amounts of money. That makes you feel good. You just can't help but feel good when you get a lot of money.
And suppose you're a 58-year-old tradesman who just got laid off last month. Can you imagine what it would feel like to win $200,000? Well, if you can't, we're about to show you. Last night I told you about the Victoria General Hospital's Karen Win sweepstakes. Well, the winner was drawn this morning on our sister station ASN's Breakfast Television.
Grand prize winner of $200,000 in the Victoria General Hospital Foundation sweepstakes draw is Harold Cole of Enfield.
Ah!
Ticket number 3655.
All right. Like that.
Yeah.
Little girl dancing around with her skirt up in the air.
Wasn't that cute? A lot of kids entertained today by Jack Grunsky. Well, it's time now for our milestones.
It is, and we start off this Friday night.
On this weekend, we in the newsroom wish you all the best.
There is lots more still to come on the Feel Good Friday edition of Live at 5, including Phil McLaughlin's weekend weather forecast.
And we also have this story ahead.
Remember the couple who said they didn't use their home phone to make calls to an adult line in Portugal? I'm Yvonne Colbert on your side, and I'll have the conclusion to their story tonight on Live at 5.
And later, it's the patented wild and wacky Live at 5 plays of the week. Stay with us. traffic going both ways. Quite a clip on the McDonald Bridge in Halifax as people make their way home for the weekend, and we're hoping it's going to be a fine one. Richard Zarowski's in Florida. We know it's going to be a pretty good one for him. He's working on Wonder Why, so he can't be with us tonight, but Phil McLaughlin has gladly agreed to come in and take a look at the meteorological scene and tell us what's in store for us. Any records today? Because it felt pretty nippy where I was.
I was going to ask.
Now it's time to switch our sights to Ottawa, where Mike Duffy is standing by for another edition of Inside Ottawa, live from the nation's capital. And just a quick note here for you, Mike. I don't know if you caught this on the way over to the Hill, but Doug Gilmour, you know, that flashy player for the Toronto Maple Leafs, has just signed a 5-year, $15 million contract. And me suspect that the good taxman in Ottawa is just hardly waiting to get a bite of that because, as we know, the country is in dire straits on the deficit debt end.
Absolutely, and the deficit, of course, will be the big subject of discussion on Monday, Paul, when Paul Martin makes his big speech in Montreal at McGill University. They're way over this year. They'll be even further over they were way over last year. They're even further over this year, and we don't know what they're going to do to cut. The premiers are terribly nervous that there are going to be more cuts, as we know that John Savage had to go back and change his word, not break his word, but change his word because of cuts, less revenue than they expected. So the provinces are nervous, and frankly, we've been beating on the doors and on the phones over to finance to try and get some ideas, and they're being very closed-mouthed about it. So either they've got something big up their sleeves or they haven't yet figured out what they're going to do. But I think what we will see at the very least is a huge consultation process as they go through the federal government's budget from stem to stern to see what can be cut that won't hurt people.
Yeah, from the revenue end to the expenditure end, some of the Western premiers saying today they just can't take any more cuts in equalization. I'm sure we're going to hear the same thing from other premiers.
Yes, and interesting today, who was standing up defending Canada's social programs and saying we can't touch Canada's social safety net? Lucien Bouchard. This is the man who wants to make Quebec a separate country, and he'll be the first king of Quebec. So it's interesting that in the space left by the NDP, Bouchard is jumping in there. He's saying we've got to keep Canada's social programs. And interestingly, he also talked on airlines today, saying that the proposed deal between American Airlines and Canadian Airlines International is not good for Canada. And he wants to see Canadian and Air Canada merge into one strong national carrier. So if we thought, as I did, I'll be honest, that Lucien Bouchard would mainly stick to his Quebec knitting as leader of the opposition and spend most of his time on simply Quebec issues, that ain't the case.
Yeah, but we kind of got an inkling of that. We kind of got an inkling of that, though, in the debate, the campaign debate, don't you think?
Well,
that, Bouchard
you did.
Would be,
I didn't.
Yeah.
You know, I just remember the Creditis when they were here last time. They didn't spend that much time on other issues. So he's out there, and it's going to be interesting to see how the NDP try and upstage him.
Glad you mentioned the opposition, Mike, because I want to get your thoughts on Kim Campbell. What's in the future for a lady who, after all, was for the brief time Prime Minister?
Cam Kimball, well, I was calling Vancouver today to try and get some ideas as to whether or not she's got a job, whether anything's been offered. They tell me that she's been visiting with old friends that she hasn't seen for a while and being seen in local donut shops, having a coffee and a donut. Seriously, no guards, no nothing, just sort of quietly coming down.
Kind of like the Tory caucus, right?
Yeah, that's right. Party of two? Oh, yes. As they go
right
to the
over
restaurant.
Here.
Yes,
Who do you think's going to win the Grey Cup?
Well, I don't know. The long odds are in Winnipeg, so I think I'll go with that and hope that we can make some dough. But we'll have the Grey Cup, we'll have crime in our streets and the deficit, and Clyde Wells and Stone Soup from Newfoundland and all this and more, 1 o'clock here on Sunday for Sunday edition. So
wouldn't miss it, Mike. Thanks a lot. We'll see you then.
All the best.
Yep, have a good one. Nancy?
Thank you, Paul. Coming up, one maritime couple struggle with the phone company over long-distance charges to an adult phone number in Portugal. Yvonne Colbert's got the solution. It's ATV on your side when Live at 5 returns. Stay with us.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying, but
Clinton is now Islamic world's most hated man for even meeting with the British author in hiding, Salman Rushdie. Time now to check with Steve Murphy, who's working on the ATV Evening News at 6. Steve, what's up?
Paul, busy news day. Coming up here in about 20 minutes on your evening news, a father's plea. It's the father of 14-year-old Marcia LeBlanc begging for information. Says he wants his daughter home safe and sound. She's missing now almost 2 weeks. We hear from him tonight. Also on our broadcast tonight, it is or can be a great weapon in the right hands. But what happens if the bad guys get a hold of cayenne pepper spray? ATV's Fonz Jessup gets a first-hand look at just how effective this stuff really is. You'll be amazed at 6 o'clock tonight. Speaking of amazing pictures, our cameras are there on the scene as a truck loaded with hay is engulfed with flames. Take a look at this. The driver of the truck and the passenger got out okay. The truck and contents are a write-off. More tonight on the ATV Evening News at 6 o'clock, right after Live at 5, which continues now with Nancy Regan. Nancy.
Thank you, Steve. It's time once again for ATV on your side, and tonight, yet another successful conclusion to one of Yvonne's stories.
That's right, Nancy. I had a lot of response, actually, to the story about a Nova Scotia couple who were billed for calls they said they didn't make, calls to an adult phone line in Portugal.
If we had, we would be more than willing to pay for them. But we haven't made the calls, and we're not willing to pay $90 worth of phone calls to an adult phone line that we didn't make.
And that's the position Steve and Shirley Taylor have taken since they received their July phone bill with $90 worth of calls to adult phone lines in Portugal. They've been waging a battle with MT&T ever since to get the calls removed from their bill. MT&T said it investigated and was sure the calls were direct dialed from the Taylor's phone. The Taylors said that wasn't possible. They asked for proof, but never received any. After their story ran on your side and we disclosed the Taylors were considering taking their long-distance business elsewhere, they were once again contacted by MT&T.
One of their service reps phoned me and told me that they have not been able to find any problems with the lines, that they don't know where they came from, but instead of continuing on with the investigation and taking up more man hours and our time, that they are going to credit the $90 worth of phone calls back onto our bill, and that they would, for all the time and effort and inconvenience, give us a $25 gift certificate.
I appreciate the certificate, but I didn't think it was necessary. We just wanted the $90 worth of charges taken off because we didn't use that service.
So what do you think? How do the Taylors feel about all this now?
Well, there's still no acknowledgement by MT&T that those calls did not come from the Taylor's home, or that a mistake was made, or that someone made the calls and somehow got them billed to the Taylor's phone number. So in that respect, they're still saying we did not make the calls.
That's kind of confusing, though. If they say there's no evidence, then why did they take the charges off their bill?
They say that the Taylors are valued customers, and they're calling this a goodwill gesture. Now, MT&T did, after the story ran here on Live at 5, physically send someone out to the Taylor's home to check their home and check their lines. And there is no evidence that anyone was tampering with the lines. But the Taylors still maintain they did not make the calls.
The good news is they don't have to pay for them.
That's right, and they've got a $25 gift certificate, so they're all set.
Good stuff. Well, if you have a problem you think Yvonne may be able to help you with, here's how to get in touch with her.
You can give us a call. The area code is 902. The number is 493-3404. Leave a brief message on the machine, please. Or you can write P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J 2Z4.
ATV's Yvonne Colbert is on your side. Are you feeling better now?
A little bit.
Good. You're coming out
I still
of it.
got some mending to do here, that's for sure.
Feel better. Here's Paul.
Still to come tonight on Live at 5, a young maritime girl turns some heads in the world of modeling. And next, the head-spinning, bone-jarring, eye-popping plays of the week. It's one of the largest massed choirs ever assembled in the Maritimes. This group of veteran performers will stage Bach's Mass in B minor in Halifax tomorrow night. A great way to begin to get into the spirit of the holidays. And you know, every Monday and Friday on Live at 5, we have a symphony for your eyes called the Atlantic Chrysler Dealers Plays of the Week. And here we go again, not exactly putting our best foot forward tonight, but hey, that's not our style, right? Apparently not Mitch Berger's style either. You can't blame the Miami Dolphins kicker for having a little trouble on this one, though. Hey, who'd expect snow in Dallas? The best foot of the week goes to Chris Gerdacki of the Chicago Bears. Snapped way over his head. He still manages to get the punt off on the run in the end zone. Hey, heck of a play, Bubba, or Gardocki in this case. And back to that snow bowl in Dallas where the folks aren't used to, you know, up here we use shovels for that kind of thing, guys. All right? Or you can do like Keith Byers here and make a little snow angel. All they needed in this one was hockey sticks. This is Georgia and Georgia Tech shedding frustrations on each other. I think a little knuckle skin might have gone off in this one, too. Unbeknownst to these guys, Santa and Mrs. Claus were at the game in their street clothes. That fight could come back to haunt those players December 25th, huh? Now, I think Santa Claus is going to be kind to Merton Hanks of the 49ers. Certainly his teammates would say he was a good boy, especially after this incredible play in the blowout over the Saints Monday night. 67-yard return of an interception for touchdown. Being a San Francisco fan, it's a dog's life, huh? Making dog meat of Wendell Hall is USBA middleweight champ Bernard the Executioner Hopkins, who's pummeling his opponent. Now, Hall's corner knows it. They throw the towel, and you know what? The ref didn't stop this fight. He let him go at it after the break. The corners finally stepped in. Now, kids, don't look at these next highlights. You have impressionable minds, right? We wouldn't want you to imitate Quebec's Adam Foote hauling down Bobby Carpenter. Heavens, little goalie shouldn't level a hit like Patrick Waugh and Mike Gartner. I mean, Coach Demers liked it. Yeah, it was pretty funny, right? And even though there was an interference penalty, well, Patrick Waugh kind of liked it too. No? And don't you hate it when mugging for the camera, some kid behind you makes you look like a fool for the TV camera? Hey, what can I say? You're bound to find at least one turkey in every stadium, right? Pierre Turgeon, the New York Islanders, went on a turkey shoot and came up with gold, banking an impossible shot off the Flyers goalie in overtime to win the game. And it looks like the Nordiques have gold in goalie Jocelyn Thibault. Nice save on Luc Robitaille. With the clock ticking, we submit these plays for your approval. Willie Anderson of the Pistons. And to win the game, Horace Grant of the Bulls with a timely tip. And then there's this, David Kidd of California. Yeah, celebrate a bit, man. You deserve it. Here's David Kidd. Great head fake, great pass, nice moves. I like it. Watch the left of your screen now, folks, for howling Doug West of the Timberwolves to finish it off. And check out Sherm Douglas of the Celtics with the left hand scoop fade away. You think that's going to go in? Of course it is. Nice, huh? Not everyone makes it look easy. Warrior Catlin paid for that pass. And then we had George Lynch of the Lakers. George here goes flying to the left of your screen into the end zone seats. Now, Curry of the Hornets, he's okay. On the other side of the table is George Lynch. Or is that George Lunch? Because he's got some now. He's got nachos. He's got the cheese. How about a little sour cream there, George? Yeah, you got sour cream, too. George, oh, George, you need something to drink with that? Hey, we got it for you. We got a glass of water. It'll get there. Eventually. The plays. We're serving up a fresh videotape Monday. Hey, we are number one, baby.
We are number one. Those plays are number one. They get you in the mood for the weekend, don't they?
The weekend is here.
Now, do picking all those plays get you in weekend mode? They must.
No, I have to have a little nap afterwards, Nancy.
Oh. Before the show or after?
You want me to be truthful? I'll be truthful.
Okay, that's
sometimes
fair.
During the show, but
go figure.
Thankfully, you're there.
Lots of good basketball plays today.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
Didn't you like that Sherm Douglas, you Celtics fan? You?
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, there's lots more still ahead on Live at 5, including the chance of a lifetime. The stuff dreams are made of for a young Maritimer.
Yeah, that's right. She's a small-town girl, and, man, she's a big winner. Dreams of Paris runways when we come back. Yeah, you know,
great feeling. It was a bonus for me to win because I didn't have any intentions to win, but I liked the feeling that I had. It was great. It was a great feeling.
They're practicing for Annie, the Nova Scotia Drama League's major fundraiser. Hey, there's Paul Meunier. Wait a second.
Oh, pull back.
And he sings.
To see how the merit. Oh, yeah, okay.
The play will be staged at the Rebecca Cohen Auditorium in Halifax Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and again Sunday evening at 8. And once again, it's a fundraiser for the Nova Scotia Drama League. And you are quite a star.
Nancy,
of screen and
you're
stage.
the thespian of Live at 5. I don't know. I'm not really comfortable doing that stuff.
You're
but it's fun.
Up. I
it's
like
a lot
it.
of fun. And I'm just one of so-called celebrities, or whatever you want to call it, who will be involved in the production, along with a very, very talented cast. Rachel Clark is Annie, and Peter Harrison from C100 Radio in Halifax plays Daddy Warbucks. He's pretty good. He's
That's
a good
big
actor.
role. Great.
Yeah, fine musical. Looks like it's going to be a superb production. Rebecca Cohen.
There's some great songs
on Sunday,
in
as you
Annie,
mentioned,
too.
right? Yeah, Annie's a great play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there'll be some other big names there. Some luminaries, more luminous than the ones you saw there, who will be taking cameo roles in it as well.
Okay.
So.
And speaking of fame, is that a good segue?
Yes, that is a good segue.
All right.
Yeah, it's a long way from the fashioned capital of Nova Scotia, or is it Stellarton? Maybe, maybe not. But it's a long way from there to the fashion world of Paris and certainly New York. But Kylie Evans has taken the very first step to getting there.
The 15-year-old straight-A student was recently named Supermodel of the Maritimes by the prestigious Ford Modeling Agency. And as we hear from ATV's Dan McIntosh tonight, Kylie's success story is like a fairy tale come true.
It's recess time at Stellarton High School, and friends gather around Kylie Evans, a grade 10 student who recently won the title Ford Supermodel for the Maritimes. It's amazing when you consider Kylie had never modeled before last weekend's competition.
I wasn't really nervous. I just thought, you know, I'm going to go and have fun and meet some new people and just basically have fun. It was a bonus for me to win because I didn't have any intentions to win, but I liked the feeling that I had. It was great.
Kylie's friends are excited for her, too.
I think it's great. I think it'll really put Stellarton on the map because nobody would ever think that a supermodel would come from little Stellarton. So it's great. Everyone's really excited having a big supermodel at their school.
It means a lot for the town because just a small town like Stellarton is a small school, not very big. And Kylie, coming from a small town, win for all the Maritimes. It's really big. Kylie is an award-winning pianist and public speaker with good grades and no time for a boyfriend.
We've found that life with Kylie always is exciting, one way or another. It's a little bit overwhelming. It all happened so fast. We weren't expecting it, but now that it's here, we're there for her and supporting her.
Because of her lack of modeling experience, Kylie had no portfolio to speak of, just a group of family photographs. Winning the Maritime title means Kylie will be in Vancouver in January for the Canadian finals. She says modeling may be a career option now.
I always wanted to be someone famous, and this is just giving me another chance, another opportunity to do that.
In Stellarton, Dan McIntosh, ATV News.
Yeah, of course, we wish Kylie all the best in the big national contest, and congratulations as well to Marcus Hutchings of Sackville, who's the male model from the very same concert. He was at a contest. He was out of town this week, so we couldn't get a hold of him. But we wish them both the best, the Maritime representatives.
Richard's out of town, too, but Phil is here to give us the weekend weather wrap. Phil.
Thanks, Nancy. Well, we're going to hold on to the sunshine right through the weekend, popular request, but we're also going to bring the temperatures up as well. So as we look at the wake-up weather tomorrow to start the weekend off, plenty of sunshine, maybe a bit of patchy cloud here and there, but the emphasis on the sunshine through the day to wake up. And chilly, -10 across the northern parts of the Maritimes, -3 across Prince Edward Island and all of Nova Scotia for the most part. So pretty good. And for the day itself, Saturday, fair weather skies pretty much everywhere, just a few patches of cloud here and there. And look at these temperatures. That's what we've been waiting for. All on the plus side through the day Saturday. So enjoy it. Enjoy the weekend. Everybody out there, you deserve it. Back to you guys.
And so do you, Phil. Thanks very much.
Phil.
Have a great weekend. ATV Primetime tonight at 6:30, Full House, followed by Murphy Brown at 7 o'clock. And then 7:30, it's Boy Meets World, followed by Step by Step at 8 o'clock. Nurses is on at 8:30. Our movie tonight, Big Business, at 9 o'clock. Young Indiana Jones is on at 11:30.
And on the Monday edition of Live at 5, do you know which toys are safe for your kids this Christmas? Many parents think they do, yet nearly 250,000 kids are injured and hundreds die every year as a result of unsafe products. We'll have the picks for safe playing Monday on Live at 5.
And have a safe and happy weekend, everybody. We'll see you here Monday, live at 5. Now the news continues in ATV with the ATV Evening News at 6. Steve Murphy. Steve?
Thank you, Paul. Tonight, a father's plea for his daughter's life.
Any clue whereas about my daughter who know any leads or information, I urge them, please call the RCMP Bucktouche.
We haven't been lucky, let's face it. We haven't been lucky from the first day in this investigation. It's been really different.
Strange symptoms. Do you know enough to save your own life?
I had this almost like a shock, electric shock in my chest. I didn't know what to think of it.
Cops and crooks in common, getting an eyeful of painful pepper.
If the person should ever get a hold of the canister and spray it at you, you know exactly what's going to happen, and you know what they're going through.
Now, from the #1 news team in Atlantic, Canada, the ATV Evening News.
I better get going. So now, for my colleagues on both sides of our cameras, like our director, Kelly Smith, who's going on vacation and won't be Kelly Smith when she gets back. Steve Murphy, thank you and good night from the ATV News Team.